Hey, you guys, gals, and bums, and welcome back to A Few Bad Men. All right. Henry Cogwell Jr. was born July 27, 1945, in Chicago, Illinois, to Henry Cogwell Sr., and the only name I could find for his mother is Lady Peastone. He grew up in the Fuller Park section of Chicago and was given the nickname Mickey as a kid. The gang that would be known as Mickey's Cobras started as the Egyptian Cobras. Like many other Chicago gangs, they started as a social club. Their original symbol was a pyramid with a snake wrapped around it. The Egyptian Cobras were not associated with the Cobra gang in Lawndale. They were a separate thing. Mickey founded the Egyptian Cobras in Fuller Park in 1960. Also in 1960, Charles Atkins, an original member of the Devil's Disciples in Inglewood, left the Disciples and created his own gang called the Double Six King Cobras. It wasn't too long after that the two Cobra gangs joined forces and became the Egyptian King Cobras. By 1962, Mickey was the leader of all 7 gangs or tribes that made up the Egyptian King Cobras. Also in that year, Mickey Cogwell arranged a merger with Bull Harrison and Jeff Fort of the Black Stone Rangers. The Egyptian Cobras were a bigger gang than the Rangers, but the Rangers were more organized. By then, Mickey was already working with older numbers men in the neighborhood, and he was involved in the policy racket even though he was only 17. Mickey Cogwell was smart and had a lot of charisma, and he would become a key addition to the Black Stone Rangers. Mickey's contribution to the stone symbolism was the pyramid. Mickey gave up his position as the leader of his own gang and became one of the main 21, the ruling council of the Black Stone Rangers, and he was the 3rd highest ranking member in the gang behind Bull Harrison and Jeff Fort. The Egyptian Cobras would change their name to the Cobra Stones, and the former King Cobras in Inglewood would change their name to the King Cobra Stones or the Egyptian Cobra Stones. On June 29, 1963, Chicago Police Patrolman John Callahan was driving west on 79th Street. He was about to turn on Woodlawn Avenue when he saw a pair of young men knock down and take the purse of 52-year-old Henrietta Lake and run off to a car parked at 79th and Greenwood. Officer Callahan got out of his patrol car and gave chase. He caught 17-year-old Mickey and took him to the station. Mrs. Lake was taken to Park Hospital and treated for bruises on her back and ankle. At the station, Mickey gave the names of the 2 other young men, Luke McDaniel, 17, and another unidentified 16-year-old. This was the first time the name Henry Cogwell would appear in the newspapers, but it wouldn't be the last. In 1962, the Robert Taylor homes were opened, and Mickey and his family moved in, and he brought the Cobra Stones with him. They converted a lot of young men to the Cobra Stones and controlled a large portion of the projects. So did their rivals, the Devil's Disciples. On September 9, 1968, Jerome Pony Soldier Cogwell, the 19-year-old brother of Mickey, was shot and killed by a disciple in front of the Robert Taylor homes. Jeff Fort organized a supposedly peaceful rally to get State Street between 53rd and 56th renamed after Pony Soldier. On November 30th, the peaceful march became unruly and the gang members began to smash storefronts and harass people until the police were called. When the police arrived, the situation got worse. The gang argued with the police and 25 were arrested, including Mickey and Jeff. They were taken to the station and charged with mob action. The charges would eventually be dropped for Mickey. Throughout the election season of 1968, Mickey led a campaign to stop people from voting. The newspaper suggested he was paid by politicians, but Mickey denied the accusation. He claimed that this was the Stones' way of protesting the system by not taking part in it. The Stones by now had become more politically aware, and they were beginning to be noticed by the politicians. In January of 1969, Jeff Fort was invited by President-elect Richard Nixon to attend his inaugural ball. Jeff declined the offer, but he sent Mickey and Bobby Jennings to represent the Stones. Mickey rented a tuxedo, and he, Jennings, and Peter Stoddard, a social worker with the Stones, took a flight to D.C. on their own dime. This was 2 days before the event. They rented a car, took in the sights, and they stayed at the Carmelite Father's house in Northeast D.C. The next day, they attended a breakfast held by Republican Senator Charles S. Percy, where they rubbed shoulders with important people, and then they attended the parade. That night, they stayed at the Mayflower Hotel, the site of one of the 6 ballrooms to be used for the ball. Senator Percy told reporters later that he was delighted to see them take part in the democratic system. The next morning, they went to the swearing-in ceremonies, but had to stand a half a block away, but they didn't care. When the ball began, Mickey danced and strained his neck just like everyone else to see the new president when he arrived. Mickey would say, "It felt great. I got the feeling people were seeing the real Stones, not like they were seeing someone behind bars or something. It was really nice. It felt good to be black and be there." Mickey was lucky to even make it to D.C. because on the previous Friday, while he was out being fitted for his tux, the gang intelligence unit was breaking in the front door of the Southside settlement house looking for Mickey. Mickey believed the police staged the raid because they just graduated a fresh class of officers and they wanted to show us who's boss. Mickey did not hide his disdain for the gang intelligence unit. In an interview in The Atlantic, he said, "It shouldn't be called the gang intelligence unit. It should be called the gang stupid unit because they're so stupid. If they really wanted to get us, they would wait until we committed crimes and then arrest us. Instead, they're trying to stop us from doing anything. Anytime people do things for us, the GIU tries to publicize it so that the donors get bad publicity. It doesn't want the Rangers and disciples to have a peace treaty because it threatens the security of their jobs. I feel that the GIU, black men, use the Rangers and the rivalry between us and the D's to make their work more important to the system." Mickey believed that members of the GIU had extra police powers. According to him, they can go into any Cook County jail whenever they want. They have easy access to the press whenever they want to publicize stories about the Rangers. They have the help of the power structure in Chicago, and they can even influence judges. Suppose one of the younger cats goes out and does something and is put in the Cook County jail. They will be offered a chance to get out if they swear that they were told to do something by one of the older Rangers, by one of the main. He said, "The police have realized that they can't break up the Stones by now. They might have done it 4 or 5 years ago, but not now. All they can do is arrest the main. But the Stones will go on. In order to break us up, they will have to arrest everyone from the main down to the peewees. If the police pick up a Stone, we take the number of the car, call a lawyer, and follow the car to the station. We wait in the halls until a lawyer comes. Then we try to figure out what the bond is. If it's not too high, we try to raise it. But most of the bonds are set too high." He attributed the high bonds to intervention by members of the GIU and the influence they seem to have over judges. The Atlantic went on to say, "Mickey Cogwell is recognized as the Ranger leader with the most business ability. For this reason, Ranger President Jeff Fort put him in charge of the West Side business operations of the Blackstone Nation. Cogwell is intelligent, and his directness suggests honesty and candor. He wears a black derby and a blue turtleneck sweater and talks very fast. He has been arrested more than 60 times, and he has considerable experience with the gang intelligence unit." Mickey and the Stones had control over a liquor store in Dixmoor, owned by the legendary entertainer Sammy Davis Jr. The Stones ran it for him, I don't know why, but it was shut down in February 1970 for selling alcohol to minors. Sammy had sunken $160,000 into the business already and was happy to be done with it. But Mickey wanted it back open. So Mickey, Jeff, and Rico Crenshaw went out to visit Sammy in LA, and they asked him to give him another $160,000 to reopen the store. Sammy refused. Sammy was scheduled to do a show at the Playboy Club in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Jeff Fort and Mickey arrived with their wives and were guests of Sammy at the hotel, but he refused to meet with them and even called the police and asked for protection. A few weeks later, while Sammy was in England, Rico Crenshaw popped up and through one of Sammy's men asked for the money again. Again, Sammy refused. Eventually, the gang would give up on the liquor store and left Sammy alone. During the 30s, 40s, and 50s, the black neighborhoods in Chicago were run by the numbers men. They called them wheel operators because instead of using numbers in the papers to determine the daily number like in other cities, the wheel operators had a physical wheel that they spun to get the number. The Jones brothers were the biggest black gangsters in Chicago in the 1930s and 40s until the Chicago outfit muscled them out. They left town and left Teddy Rowe in charge. Teddy was a hard man who didn't take shit from anyone, not even the outfit. Teddy would be killed in 1952 when the outfit realized he could not be controlled. After that, the outfit controlled the neighborhood through black gangsters loyal to them. In the late 50s and 60s, predominantly white neighborhoods on the South Side began to turn into black neighborhoods. The white gangsters for years ran gambling dens, loan shark operations, and bookmaking. But as the white population decreased, they saw their profits plunge. For one, the white man's vices were not the black man's vices. And two, many blacks couldn't afford them. Many of the white gangsters left the neighborhood for good, but the outfit remained in power through the black gangsters under them. In 1969, the outfit, used to being the ones doing the threatening, found the shoe was on the other foot. Mickey Cogwell sent a message to the outfit, letting them know that unless the Stones were paid, they would declare war on the outfit's network of numbers runners and collection stations on the South Side. This message was delivered to the outfit after a few outfit associates were beaten and their number spots robbed and destroyed. This was a battle the outfit didn't want. The Stones at the time were almost 2,000 strong, with a structure similar to the Mafia, with access to a lot of guns and the willingness to use them. Joseph DeVarco and Big Joe Arnold, who ran the South Side for the outfit, set up a meeting to straighten things out. Mickey Cogwell and Charles Rico Crenshaw met with DeVarco and Arnold in the haberdashery they operated on North State Street near the Chicago Avenue police station. There, they established a partnership with the Stones. The Stones agreed to stop harassing their workers, and the outfit gave the Stones $25,000 and later $50,000 in cash to bankroll various business ventures. Morris Lasky, a Jewish numbers man, was assigned to work with the Stones on behalf of the outfit. In 1969, Lasky and the Stones tried to purchase the drug and liquor store at 1100 East 47th Street. The plan was to use the drugstore exclusively for welfare recipients, and the second floor was to house doctors' offices where the doctors would write prescriptions and they would be filled downstairs. Lasky wanted a 10-year lease, but would not put any money up front. The owner, Irving Walshine, then rented the place to the four brothers. The next day, Walshine received a phone call. The anonymous caller said that it would be wise to reconsider giving the building to Lasky. The next day, Walshine went on a long vacation in Europe. On June 9, 1969, police took a statement from Hannah Swells, one of the four brothers. He told police that soon after the store opened, they were visited by Lasky, Rico Crenshaw, and Edward Spywak. Lasky introduced Crenshaw to him as my friend Rico. Then they began to suggest the brothers sell out to them. Swells refused, and the men left. A short time later, the windows of the store were smashed, and Swells began to receive threatening phone calls. The day after the windows were smashed, Swells was contacted by both Crenshaw and Lasky. They both said that the window damage was a sign that he should sell out. Despite the pressure campaign, they were never able to get that location. The partnership with Cogwell and the mob allowed Mickey to build a heroin distribution network within the Robert Taylor projects. This operation focused on the Hole, the three-building complex situated near 53rd and State in the Washington Park neighborhood. Initially, the heroin trade in the projects was minor and avoided major law enforcement, because at that time, the Stone organization was predominantly known for dealing marijuana, codeine, and various other pills and narcotics. December 31st, 1969, a Stone named Willie Harris was taken from his room at the Crowell Hotel at 5450 Michigan Avenue by Mickey Cogwell, Robert Jennings, and Jeff Fort. He was tied up, beaten, and questioned about the whereabouts of a former member on Jeff Fort's orders. He was held for hours with his hands tied behind his back with wire. A pillowcase was placed over his head, and he heard the cocking of a gun after Jeff Fort said, "Kill him." Mickey and Jennings grabbed Harris and pushed him down the fire escape stairs before piling him into Mickey's car and took him to an alley at 60th and Union and told him to get out. Mickey then told Jennings to shoot him, but Harris, fearing for his life, grabbed the gun and wrestled it away. He fired the gun at Mickey and Jennings, sending them both running. Harris was left in the alley alone, beaten and shaken, and out of fear, he did not report the beating for 3 days. Then he went to the police, and Mickey, Jennings, and Fort were arrested and charged with attempted murder. They will be given bond and put back on the streets. On April 7, 1970, Morris Lasky, Mickey Cogwell, Edward Spywak, Rico Crenshaw, and Joseph Blood Jackson, Crenshaw's chauffeur, met in front of the Drexel drugstore at 3903 Vernon Avenue. The purpose of the meeting is unknown, but it lasted 20 minutes, and that was enough time for the newspaper photographer to snap this photo of the meeting. The cops were aware that something was going on between the Stones and the mob, so on June 3rd, gang intelligence units raided Rico's apartment and recovered a bunch of weed, unregistered firearms, a fur coat that was taken in a burglary, and a few business cards. The name on the cards was Shirts Unlimited, the firm run by DeVarco and Arnold. Rico was taken in for parole violation and charged with possession and failure to register the firearms. In 1972, Mickey was convicted of conspiracy to defraud the U.S. government, 2 counts of forging timesheets for trainees, and 8 counts of forging checks in relation to the Woodlawn Organization program, in which several Stones were charged with wasting $900,000 of government money. He was sentenced to 15 years. Luckily for Mickey, he was sentenced under a statute that allowed the convicted to immediately apply for parole. The next day, Mickey and his lawyer walked into the courtroom with a motion to reduce the sentence. His lawyer argued that Mickey had mended his ways and was now contributing to the society he once terrorized by working as a labor organizer. The judge fell for it. Mickey was given probation and walked out of the court free without spending 1 day in jail. Rico Crenshaw and his lawyer followed suit. Jeff Fort, however, will be found guilty and sentenced to 15 years in Leavenworth Prison. While Jeff Fort was in jail, he left Mickey in charge of keeping the gang running and keeping Bull Harrison from regaining power if he was released from jail. Even the outfit saw that Mickey was not the average gangbanger. The Hotel and Restaurant Employees Union had been infiltrated by the outfit a long time ago and was overseen by outfit underboss Joe Ayupa. Mickey was allowed to organize his own union, Local 304, in the predominantly black neighborhoods in Chicago. He would remain president until his fraud conviction in 1972. In 1973, Edward Hanley was elected, or rather appointed by Ayupa, president of the HRE International, and Mickey Cogwell became an organizer for Local 301 of the Culinary Workers Union. On November 27, 1975, federal agents rounded up the top leaders of the Black Keystone Rangers on charges of operating a lucrative stolen gun racket. 26 members, including Mickey, were arrested. Police Commander Thomas Hughes of the Gang Crimes Unit said, if someone doesn't put a stop to Cogwell, he's going to be the Al Capone of the black community. Mickey and the rest were accused of virtually controlling the illegal gun traffic on the South Side. They dealt in guns of all kinds, machine guns, sawed-off shotguns, as well as handguns and rifles. Authorities said many of the guns were stolen from gun shops, interstate shipments, and still others were taken from rival gangs. Police in the crime unit said that Mickey has always been one of the brighter members in the gang and was probably the real leader even before Jeff Fort went to prison. During his trial in April of '76, while paid informant Maurice Childress was testifying, 17 men filed into the courtroom. 4 of them wore red turbans. One of them was Jeff Fort. The witness turned his face and refused to talk. Later, the judge dismissed 5 of the jurors after they said the incident prejudiced them. The next day, he declared a mistrial. The charges would eventually be dropped after a federal agent admitted to inconsistencies in his testimony. Mickey by now was possibly the biggest black gangster in Chicago. He was making money in the Robert Taylor homes selling drugs. He took over the numbers operations for the outfit in Keystone-controlled areas, and he was a union organizer. When Jeff Fort decided that the Black Keystone Rangers would convert to Islam and change the name of the gang to the El Rukin, Mickey chose not to go along with his old friend. Some say Jeff Fort declared Mickey an enemy, but Jeff would deny it. In his eyes, to be an El Rukin was an honor, and it was not something that he pushed onto his subordinates. Mickey had begun to travel everywhere with 2 bodyguards, but Mickey was all alone on February 25, 1977. At 3:45 a.m., Mickey was dropped off a few blocks from his home at 7816 South Sealy Avenue. As he got near his home, a man ran up from behind. Mickey saw him and began to run, and then shots rang out. Mickey was hit once in the back and fell into the front yard of his home. Then a man wearing a dark ski jacket and a red pullover hat stood over Mickey and put 2 more into his back before running off. Mickey would be pronounced dead on the scene. Jeff Fort was the main suspect, but he and most of the important Stones had an alibi. The case has never been solved. The Cobra Stones blamed Fort for the murder and split from Fort and the El Rukin. And in 1982, the Cobras officially dropped out of the Black Keystone Nation and changed their name to the Mickey Cobras, or the Mickey's Cobras, in honor of their fallen chief. Even though they were no longer Stones, they still joined the People's Nation that had been started by Fort. Every summer, until the Robert Taylor homes were torn down, the Mickey Cobras donned red and black t-shirts reading "Long Live Mickey Cogwell" and threw a party to celebrate the life of their slain leader. And that, my friends, is the skinny, or Mickey Cogwell. I hope you guys enjoyed the story as much as I enjoyed telling it. I know that this is a short video, but my birthday's coming up on Sunday, and I just wanted to knock out something before the weekend came up so I can go have some fun. So you guys know the routine by now. If you don't, and you're new here and you want to join the gang, first thing you got to do is you got to bump off that subscribe button. Next thing you got to do is you got to break that thumb like it owes you some money. Then you got to ring that bell and set it for all notifications. If you want to help produce these videos and help support the channel, there are a few ways you can do that. You can go over to the YouTube membership and get yourself a YouTube membership over there. You can go to Patreon, get yourself a Patreon membership. Or if you just want to slide an envelope upstairs to the boss to help the channel run smooth, the PayPal link is down below. All right, so I'm going to get out of here, have some fun. You don't turn 55 every day. All right, so this has been A Few Bad Men. Keep your nose clean and don't take any wooden nickels. I see yous in the funnies.